Like, you got to be on some like, well, Mesh, do you think you're a good friend?
I do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I try to adjust when issues are brought to me. I think that's what makes a good friend. Like, I try to hear my friends. I try to, and I mean, I guess I can't say I'm a good friend because I am a friend to me.
For sure.
I do think I'm a good friend. I treat myself very well, and I'm working on treating myself even better. But I feel like my heart is pure.
Yeah.
I feel like I have good intent. And when there is an issue brought to me, I try to adjust.
Yeah.
I take it to heart. I take it to heed.
Yeah.
I take it to heed. I don't even know if that's the right way. I take it to heed.
You've been reading First Kings and King James. Have
take heed to it. But do you think I'm a good friend? That would be a question for one of my friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And anything that I can do better in this season, let's say it right now, and let's say it publicly, and let's hold me accountable to making those steps.
I think you're an amazing friend. I think you I think that it's the best way I can describe it. Okay, this happened. And my grandma passed away. And you said, I was crying, you let me talk through, and it was the best conversation. And then you were like, let me know what you need. You know, if you want me to come over, if you want me to bring flowers, if you want me to do this. And it's like, in those moments, I don't want you to say that. I just want you to come over with flowers. I didn't want you to be like, because Jesus, you feel weird asking somebody to do certain things like that in a moment of grief.
Wow.
So it's like, I don't think you're a bad friend. I think you're an amazing friend. You're a supportive friend. You're a friend that will offer the clothes off your back. You are always there. I think it's just moments of comfort that I think you can
show up without permission.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We are giving you guys a breakdown of Bsimone and her podcast episode where she spoke about being a good or a bad friend. Now, there's some key things that were happening in this particular video, which I believe are associated with attachment styles in here as well. Now, I think this conversation here we were having sounds quite interesting, but it also sounds very familiar. This conversation, she had the exact same one with Megan. The exact same conversation about showing up without actually being told to show up. Now, someone could deduct from this and say, hey, has Bsimone not learned her lesson? Or could it also be that Bsimone has a set of friends who actually are very I don't want to say needy, but are failing to communicate their actual needs and expect people to show up like they do? You see, when you are somebody who has been an overgiver, a chronic overgiver, where you show up for other people to the extent that you don't show up for yourself, when you're somebody who overreaches, when you're somebody who's overdoing it, when you're always kind of like giving for people, you build friendships of people who take, or you build friendships with people who expect you just to show up without fully actually explaining their needs or their wants. And the reality of the reason why this is such a dynamic is, one, because previously I believe that Bsimone was in a season or seasons of her life where she would show up for people without them asking. But as she has declared, and I'll go to the clip in a second or two, she was performing. It wasn't natural. It was her trying not to lose a friendship rather than doing it out of the love and the freedom of doing this thing. So her friends that she had built around her also have an aspect I believe is very passive aggressive, in a sense of they don't ask for their needs to be met. They kind of go and meet people's needs without actually ever declaring it and saying it. So when you watch this clip here and you hear the friend saying, you know, my grandma had passed, and when you spoke to me, you called me and I spoke on the phone, and then you asked me, what do I need? Do you need flowers and and for me to come over? When Bsimone asks that and the friend goes, I just wanted you to show up, how will she know that? And then I realized, because you've built a dynamic in your friendship groups where you don't tell people what you need, people just expect you to do. And whilst I do believe that is a part of it is also a good thing, but you have to also remember as well, people also need to be able to declare what they actually need. Do you get what I'm saying to you? If the person asks you, what do you need? You should respond with, hey, you know what? I need a friend to come over. The fact that you can't respond like that, and then we kind of mask it with, well, I'm in grief, that's why I couldn't ask you. No. It's not because you're in grief that you couldn't do that. The reality situation is that you've built a friendship on that basis. You've built a friendship on a basis of, we just do without saying. But what you don't realize is you're mind reading. And mind reading only works for so long until somebody goes, I can't mind read anymore. And so a lot of people are in relationships with other friends and they get annoyed about people's behavior because they're expecting them to mind read. That is not what we do in real life. You actually have to declare what your actual needs are, what you actually need from people. Am I making sense? And so a lot of times these friendships just need an extra conversation or two. Does that mean that Bsimone's off the hook for being for not necessarily showing up in the right way? No, but it also is a fact that it's a two-way street. If you can't say what you actually need, we've got a problem, because I've asked you, what do you need? And you've told me it's kind of weird to kind of say what I need when I'm grieving. Well, if you're grieving, that's the whole point. If I come over there and you don't need me to come over there, that's the whole point of why I'm asking you, so I know exactly what to do when I come, if I should come over there. And so if you're watching this, I want you to understand that you may side with Bsimone, you may be against Bsimone, whichever way it is. We're going to explain some of the processes of what's actually happening here. And actually, people keep replaying this particular clip where she talks about not helping her financially. I don't think that's their biggest issue. I think there are other issues that we can deal with that can be much more bigger. But before we do anything else, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you click on that wonderful bell button for notifications of the uploads. We're going to break this video all the way down. Now, before we do, I want to be able to explain what attachment styles is. Attachment styles is because that's a framework we're going to use to be able to explain what's happening between Bsimone and her friend, right? So first and foremost, attachment styles is the way that we emotionally bond in relationships. It was based upon a psychologist, John Bowlby, who was British, who noticed how children react to their caregivers. And what he noticed was separation anxiety. And he placed 3 groups: secure, avoidant, and anxious. And then there was a 4th one that came along with another woman called Mary Ainsworth, who called it disorganized, dysfunctional, or fearful avoidant attachment. Okay, and so we're going to focus on fearful avoidant attachment to give you an idea of what's happening. So fearful avoidance are people who have who crave for deep connection, love, and support, but simultaneously fear the hurt that will come from being in a relationship with someone. And so they fear the love aspect because they associate love with pain. And so a lot of times they're trying to fight the feeling of the hurt, the feeling of control, the feeling of being trapped, the feeling of losing themselves and not having autonomy and independence. Okay. And they live in this constant kind of dichotomy of fluctuations between hot and cold, or rather I should put it, the fear of abandonment, which is the anxious side of them, and the fear of engulfment, or the fear of being overtaken and not having autonomy, is their avoidant side. So they fluctuate what we call a push and a pull, a push and a pull behavior. Okay. Now I'm explaining this so I can explain this about what I believe is happening to Bsimone, and then understand where this conflict has actually come from, and we'll go a little bit deeper as well. Okay. So going on further, right? So for the fearful avoidant, they will feel like, I want to be close, but I'm scared to be close. I don't want to be alone, but I don't want to be trapped. Okay. And so some of the core wounds of a fearful avoidant is they're not feeling emotionally safe as a child. They weren't. Some of the core wounds are from fearful avoidance that they never really feel emotionally safe. That for them, love is unpredictable. It's sometimes present, sometimes absent, and they often become emotionally responsible for other people. And they have to end up becoming caregivers for other people. They're they can be not parentified, but they are emotional caretakers. Okay. They end up fearing they're going to be too much or a burden for people. At the same time, they feel like they fear being insignificant, right, and not being seen. The deep sense of sometimes shame and guilt around their own needs and their own boundaries. So they struggle to say what they want and what they need. Okay. All right. And so that becomes very difficult as well. And so because they have a high sensitivity to rejection, abandonment, and betrayal, they struggle sometimes in relationships. And the lack of secure co-regulation, that sometimes when they want to co-regulate, it's scary because they're afraid that if they have to depend on you, if you decide to be inconsistent, they can feel like they're going to be abandoned again. But then if you are consistent, then they have to show up. And that can be very scary too. Okay. So, where's my water at? Damn. I took my water away. Okay. So hopefully we understand motivation. Some of the homes that fearful avoidance grow up in is that they grow up in emotionally chaotic homes. They grow up in homes with inconsistent caregivers who are usually comforting but also fearful. They're often parentified in their households, meaning they have to take care of their parents' emotions or finances. In their household, they're having to do something which is making them an adult in that household before their time. They are often very sharply criticized, loved conditionally, and they are mixed with. They have mixed signals from the parent or caregiver, which is that you get criticized and then you get praised for certain things, but you're often praised for what you do, not for who you are. And so this is emotional and physical neglect, which is combined with this occasional inconsistent attention that they get from the caregiver, whilst again being very frightful. Okay, and so they grow up usually in very performance-driven homes where love is earned. Okay, now we're going to focus on this aspect of fearful avoidance being very much being overgivers. I believe that Bsimone is an overgiver, and what most people were hearing in the video was, "Oh my God, if it was my friend, I would help them out." But you haven't listened to the context of the conversation. The context of the conversation is that she actually helps out too many people, and what this was a burnout. And when you burn out, when a fearful avoidant burns out because they have no boundaries and they're always constantly overgiving, they shut everything down. So it doesn't matter if you're their friend, you could be their mom, their dad. They've burnt out, and when they've burnt out, they're done. And when they're done, it's like a complete shutdown, and nobody can get anything out of them. It's like they completely go cold, and it's because the body has been overwhelmed by the amount of necessity of need from them that they've not caretaken for their own needs. And at a certain point, the body's going to tell them, we can't do this no more. And so what I saw with Bsimone and her friend was that shutdown. It's like, okay, I'm helping everybody, and now is there something to do here too? But to be honest, I don't think she even knew, because the friend didn't. I don't think the friend actually even told her. But I think the friend wanted her to know. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, baby, if you're not going to say it, I'm not going to mind read, okay? But, and so what ends up happening with fearful avoidance is that can end up developing an identity of being a strong one, the savior, the fixer. Bsimone is a savior and fixer, and we'll concentrate on that a little bit later on the back end of this video, okay? So some of the reasons why fearful avoidance overgive is that overgiving is a survival strategy. It is born out of trauma. Let me say it one more time for you. Some of you believe that you're just so wonderful because you give so much. No, it's survival, and it's born out of trauma, and you're trying to be safe. Some of your giving is not altruistic. It's not actually from the goodness of your own heart. Some of it is a fearful type of giving where you're afraid of losing friendships. You're afraid of losing the image of being a good friend. You're afraid of losing, proximity to people. And so actually, it's not actually a kind gesture anymore. Now it's become routine and a performance, and it's born out of survival. So sometimes a fearful avoidant will overgive because they need to control. They need to have control. So like if they meet everybody's needs, they won't be abandoned or they won't be left. If they can meet everybody's needs, they won't be betrayed. If they can meet everybody's needs, they won't be necessarily rejected in future. And so actually, it doesn't become an altruistic gesture. It becomes one of survival. Number two, the reason why they overgive is performance. They're trying to prove their worth and prove their value. And so if they can prove their worth and prove their value, you won't abandon them, which goes back to their core wounds. Okay. And they have a fear of saying no. They actually believe that harm will come to them if they say no. So when they're overgiving, sometimes when people ask them, they might want to say no, but they're afraid to say no because they're afraid they're going to be harmed, either physically or emotionally. They genuinely feel like they're going to be harmed. So saying no doesn't become like an option until they get angry and they've had enough and they shut down. Okay. Another situation is that for sometimes the overgiving is an aspect of avoiding vulnerability. Now, something if you've noticed with Bsimone is that while she has this very open conversation, okay, right, while she's having this very open conversation, something that Bsimone does a lot, which I think that she may be using this, my own personal opinion, to actually begin to, to actually prevent vulnerability, is that Bsimone always answers rhetorical questions. I don't know if you noticed it. Like the person we're talking, and she'll like either it's a rhetorical question or she'll try to finish off the person's sentence. And I believe that's her way of kind of almost trying to say she's connecting. But I also believe it's her way of being invulnerable, because it's like, if I know what you're going to say, it's like, I already know what you're saying. Yeah. You need to correct this. I already knew that. Yeah, I already knew that. And it's almost like you don't want to be criticized. So it's like, I already knew that. Oh, you're going to say harm. I knew you were going to say harm. And it's like, Bsimone, sometimes just let it rest. Like let the person say what they're saying and let it finish. You don't have to finish off the sentence. Like we don't have to be in sync, And so, yeah, that's something I just noticed. But again, I have my own personal opinion in that particular as well. So let's get into this video a little bit. Let's break some stuff down and we will get deeper with it. And I'll explain how this fits into the Bsimone situation and how it plays a role as well. Okay, so we can play this for you guys as well, because this is really important, like to be able to deal with some of the stuff that comes up as well. Let's see.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah,
I think in past that's maybe a trauma thing again though.
Why?
In the past, I felt forced to show up without permission. It was performing.
It was.
So now I'm like, all right, I ain't that friend don't want that much. So maybe
and I don't require a lot.
And you don't require a lot, but it's like it's full circle.
Wow.
Doing it for the people that deserve it, doing it for the people that need it, doing for the people that don't take advantage of it. It's rewiring your brain. It's unlearning. So it's like I would have done that in the past,
but out of a place of obligation,
out of a place of.
Now, this is really important what she just explained, because what she's actually explaining is the difficulty of showing up. What she's saying is that in previous times, she would have just shown up without having to be asked. She would read the mind and just do it. But she realized that a lot of that was coming from a place of her being in a place of performance and fear. So she's trying to find her balance. And that takes a bit of time. When you're healing, going from a place of fear to a place of love, there's a journey on that. And sometimes you get it wrong, sometimes you get it right. But you're trying to find your balance. And in that space, you may say a lot of no's to people that may not bode well for some people. You know what I mean? And that could be some of your friends. And what she's explaining is that she did that in the past because she did it for the wrong kind of people. Because a lot of times, for fearful avoidance, they end up dealing with people who are takers. Okay? Aided giving to the wrong people because they're bad investments, and so you can't. And then it further confirmationally bias. It further confirms your bias about your decision, your discernment, and your own voice and your own decision making. You start saying to yourself, "I don't believe I can make the right choice." So do you know what? Everybody's got to go. I can't do it for anybody now because I can't discern and I don't trust me to make the right choice in who I should invest in and give my heart to support as a friend wholeheartedly. So now I'm just canceling everybody. You know, that's the safest way for me. And so this is a journey that she has to go on as well, right? A journey to go on.
Fear. So I get that. I can do that.
Yeah. And I think what that
showing
friend
up
taught
without
you,
permission.
what that friend was teaching you were things that you have to have in your friendship. So
okay, like what?
Like that.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
Okay.
Like that was from a place of whatever control
fear,
or whatever fear, and you did it out of obligation. But like when you really love somebody and that person is your friend,
you do it.
That's how you show up.
Okay.
Yeah. But other than that, I think.
But that's not how you show up. So this actually also not. I don't think it's great advice. What she's talking about is not how you show up. That's how you want me to show up, and that has to be made very, very clear. It's not a friendship thing. Listen, if somebody in your family passes away, and I ask you, what do you need from me, right? If I ask you and you then don't tell me what you need, right? If I don't come and then show up, right? I've asked you what you need and you've said, I'm cool, I'm okay. Am I supposed to read past that? You know what I'm saying to you? Why are you not willing? Why are you not able to say what you actually want? Right? It's your time of grief. You're going through something. Someone's passed. I don't want to be presumptuous and make it worse for you. You feel what I'm saying to you? So I'm asking you, what do you need from me? And I'll show up in that way. You want me to come around there? Do you want me to come around? If I say I want to come, should I come round? Your only answer is yes. Why can't you say yes? You know what I mean? So it takes two to tango in these relationships. And like I said, it's what ends up happening when you are in relationships where people are trying to mind read. And that's put as a standard of that's the greatest relationship. No, it's not. You're mind reading. You should be able to articulate what you actually need. There's a problem here. We're not articulating our needs. We're assuming people should just know. And that's how you have a misalignment, because how did this situation happen? If she asked you, what do you need? And you never said it, the misalignment is not that I wanted you to show up. The misalignment is with her. She actually should say, my bad, I should tell you. You know what I mean? That's not on the other person. It's not on the other person to now read your mind. If you don't know what you want, then it's on you. You've got to know. You know what I'm saying to you? I can't be presumptuous and then I'm like, oh, I now know what you need. No. If I've asked you, you don't know what you need, then I can take it on my own initiative and say, maybe this will be something to do. But if it then doesn't work out and you say, that's not what I needed, then we're going to get blamed for that too. So no, I've asked you what you need. What do you need from me right now? Do you need me to show up? You need me to be there for you? You want me to come with you tomorrow? Right? Do you know what I'm saying to you? I can't be blamed then for not understanding what you needed when you don't even know what you need. How can I know what you need if you don't know what you need? That don't make sense. You see what I'm saying to you? And then we project that onto other people, like, you couldn't show up for me. No, you didn't even know what you needed. So how was I meant to mind read? Right? How was I meant to mind read? Do you get what I'm saying to you? So someone can be presumptuous, but let's not put that onto let's not put that onto pedestals. Like, no, we should communicate. You know what I'm saying to you? And that's not giving Bsimone a pass. I'm merely saying that I think she's built friendships around her based on what she used to do, which is mind read. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's mind read. So, yes. Okay, let's continue.
Yeah. Showing up without, what did you say?
Showing up without permission. I love that.
Showing up without permission.
Wow. Okay. Can I write that down?
That's good.
Thank you. I'm going to put it in my notes.
Well, I know what I'm working on.
Okay. Do you think you're a good friend? And why?
I think that I have a pure heart. I think that I'm a nurturing friend. I think that I can grow in my friendships with my communication. Mm-hmm. I'm bad at my phone. Mm-hmm. I think I lose friends because I'm bad at my phone. But it's an extra trauma for me. My phone, I get a little anxiety. I do. If somebody calls,
I'm laughing because I know.
You know why?
Yes.
You know why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw that name on my phone, baby, I would have turned my phone off and say it was dead.
Yeah. So I think, yeah. Do you think I'm a great friend?
I do. I think you have pure intent. I think you love really hard. I think when you say you're going to do something, like pray, I'll pray for you or intercede. Like, we don't talk about the spiritual stuff. Like, that's a great fucking friend. Wow. Excuse me, Lord. That's a great friend. Like, if I say pray about this, I know you're in your prayer room praying about it. If, like, the other day when I was like, oh, we haven't prayed yet, but I'm like, I know yeah. You're like, okay, like, let me know. Like,
I need to pray. I was like, let's pray.
Yeah. Like, let's go. Like, like that is a spiritual covering I know I have with you. I trust you spiritually.
Yeah.
I trust that if God, even what you said to me about the awards, like, we could talk about that. Like,
are you glad you didn't do that? Or are you?
I don't feel either way. I don't feel like I missed out on anything.
Yeah.
So let's just say that. Same. I don't feel like I needed to.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I don't feel either way. I'm neutral about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like, oh, why didn't I? I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all, that's me and my business partner Jasmine, and I'm gonna give you guys a little bit. Catch it.
Yeah.
Let's catch it.
Yeah. You were swallowing it though, because you didn't have nothing. Okay.
But what were we gonna say and think about how I feel as
I mean, this was the hardest season of my life this last year. And sometimes when the public perception is like being a best friend with a celebrity, everybody thinks that, oh, because you're connected to this person, then your life is just as grand as theirs, or you got
it, or they helping you.
Baby, when I tell you, didn't have a job, living with my parents, a single mom, all this happened to me this past year.
Jesus.
And then it's like to not have resentment in my heart towards you because I saw you do this for other people. I saw you give a check to somebody to help them through whatever they went through. And it's like, God, like, I love him. That's my soul. And I can't nobody didn't give me a handout, but guess what? That wasn't your responsibility.
I love that because it wasn't her responsibility. That's a major thing. Like, it wasn't her responsibility. And a lot of people were commenting, talking about Bsimone's a bad friend because she did not help her financially. Well, first and foremost, you didn't ask me. You know what I mean? You didn't ask me. Again, once more, we're asking people to do things we haven't asked them to do. You know what I'm saying to you? Now, in the past, Bsimone might have done that. You know what I'm saying to you? In the past, Bsimone might have done that. But this is the Megan and Bsimone thing all over again. We're in the same place where we're wanting people to show up for us without actually asking for it to show up. We're saying, you should show up for me and know what I need. This is not friendship. This is not friendship. Like, it's not, we're not mind readers. We have to come out of that space. It's an unhealed perspective. Like, we are supposed to be able to articulate what we need. You're in a situation and you're in a bind. Say what you need. Otherwise, go through it alone and keep quiet. But don't come back to me and then say I'm resentful. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna be like, what? Wait. What? Wait, why am I getting blamed? I didn't even know. You know what I'm saying to you? I didn't even know you were going through that. You know, and at the same time, even if I did know, it's not on me to save you. If you can go back to your parents' house, and then you're gonna be, and this is part that's weird. You go back to your parents' house and you're on food stamps, which means your parents are on food stamps, right? No, let's really deal with that. If you are on food stamps whilst you're at home, you're on food stamps, then your parents are on food stamps. But I'm assuming your parents are not on food stamps. So why are you on food stamps? Because we're still because here's what's happened. We've moved back home, love our parents. We don't want to be a burden to our parents. So we've gone on food stamps. Because why are we on food stamps? I hope I'm making myself clear. If you've moved back home, you know what I mean? If you've moved back home and your parents, if they're on food stamps, then it makes sense why you're on food stamps. But if you've moved back home and they're not on food stamps, why are you on food stamps? Well, because probably you didn't say anything again. And you expect someone to, again, this should have been a conversation with your parents, because I don't understand why you're on food stamps. You feel what I'm saying to you? So for me personally, again, I think that's an indication of needs not being necessarily spoken about, but they are they're wanting to be met, but they're not being spoken about. You know what I mean? But again, I'm only explaining this so that as an individual, when you're watching this, so that there's two sides to the story. Like, you have to be able to articulate your needs, right? And at the same time, when you articulate it, they don't have to be met. Like, if you say you want this, the other person has the right to also say, I can't help right now. You know what I'm saying to you? So while she may feel like Bsimone has all that kind of money and maybe has helped people in the past, that she's a chronic overgiver. She's somebody who is always performing. And so actually maybe the friend also thought, I don't want to ask her because I don't want to put her in an overgiving position. But then at the same time, you felt resentful. Can't win for lose.
God had to take me through that for my own season, for my own thing. I had to get my car repossessed.
Jesus.
I had to go through the food stamps line. I had to be on Medicaid. Because whatever I'm building my story too. But it's like, as a friend, somebody who has it, it's hard to digest because everybody around you, they're probably shocked that I'm even saying this right now.
So the fact that she's saying they're shocked means she probably didn't tell Bsimone that she had these issues. Do you know what I'm saying to you? The fact that you're shocked probably is because you never actually said those particular things. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, you've got so this can't be, the onus can't be on the other person. The resentment's coming from the fact that you actually didn't open your mouth and say anything. Like, the person can't, again, we're expecting them to read people's minds. And the reality of the situation is, this is something that you should be able to declare and say yourself. You've got to be able to open your mouth. And even if she did say it, Bsimone would be in her right to say, babe, I can't help you in this situation. I don't have the means, or I don't have the capacity. I don't have the means, or I don't have the capacity to help you right now. You know what I'm saying to you? So this is also something that needs to be understood as well in those kind of friendships, because you have to also think of it as well. Like, again, we don't know what other, we don't know when you don't know the other person's constraints. For instance, Bsimone is a celebrity. She does make money, but we have no clue what her constraints are. We have no clue if she's paying for other people and other things. So for the sensible thing to do is actually to ask. But if you go silent and expect the person to just help you, this is not a mature perspective. One has to open mouth to say what you actually need. That's how people get misaligned. That's how feelings get caught up. That's how people get into spaces, and then and that's how people get into situations, right? There has to be an opening of a mouth to say, this is what I need.
All this year.
In less than 12 months.
What? But I said all that to say, like, I don't even know what was it?
Just not being resentful. And it's both. It's you knowing, oh, that's not your responsibility. And it's me knowing I can help the right people.
Yeah. But the flip side of that is like, okay, not me. Everybody has their own lesson.
Right.
Mine is like, okay, don't be resentful. But you were trying to fight through bitterness or unforgiveness, whatever.
I did that already.
Right. But it's like, okay, if God told you to give Shekinah some money,
right,
would you listen, or would you allow would you allow what you did in the
resentment
past
and the bitterness
to come between that? Everybody has a responsibility.
Yes. Not even Shekinah some money, anything. If God said it, just because you were heartbroken, God said, go, that's your husband, but now you fearful because the last nigga cheated. You done missed out on the whole blessing. You can't let the past pain and the past heartbreak and the past relationship breakup and the past anger and sadness and brokenness keep you from doing it again, trying it again.
Oh, Lord.
That's the part where I think Bsimone has to also work on. Like the point actually that was being made, okay, the point that was also being made here, Bsimone didn't have to cop the moment, but Bsimone copped the moment. Let me just play what I said again. Look, the friend was making a point and Bsimone overtook the point. She didn't need to. But because Bsimone sometimes, I feel like sometimes, and that's where her invulnerability comes in, that she needs to be a bit more vulnerable. Let the person finish that point. Let them have it.
Allow the would you allow what you did in the
resentment
past
and the bitterness
to come between that? Everybody has responsibility.
Not even to kind of some money, anything. If God said it, just because you were heartbroken, God said, go, that's your husband, but now you fearful because the last nigga cheated. You done missed out on the whole blessing. You can't let the past pain and the past heartbreak and the past relationship breakup and the past anger and sadness and brokenness keep you from doing it again, trying it again.
Oh, Lord.
Now, when she does this quite a bit. I mentioned this when she did with Megan as well. The same thing. Like she doesn't allow a point to rest. So, for instance, the point was, and if you notice, the point was on what she was doing. And as they started talking about what she was doing that could have been improved, she overtook and then said it as a preaching point. And it's like, babe, no. Let it rest. Let them deliver the point to you. And I know how hard it is because I know myself as an avoidant how difficult it is sometimes, because really and truly, you never want to feel like you're incompetent, because part of the avoidance is hyper independence. And so when you're hyper independent, you never want to be out of the loop. You always want to be needed. And so when you're always wanting to be needed, what tends to happen is you have to find something that makes you be needed. So for instance, avoidants tend to sometimes gravitate towards intelligence. So they hide behind their intelligence as a way of being invulnerable. So like if I'm always intelligent, you can't call me out on nothing because I've already called myself out on it. But actually you being accountable and being transparent about it does not necessarily mean that you're actually being vulnerable. So the way that she handles it is by overtaking the point and then like, hey, look, you can't let the past of the baby, let the point rest because it wasn't you that was saying it, it was your friend that was saying it. That's just something that she needs to tweak. But I've been seeing her, she does that quite a bit. And I remember I said this a couple of years ago about a lot of her interviews, people talk and she talks in and she doesn't rest. And that's the anxious side of her. She needs to be able to rest and allow people to talk.
Trying it again. Trying it again with the right people, with the right friend, with the right man, with the people that truly love you. I literally talked about that. I said, I want to do what I used to do I told you I missed that.
You did.
Oh my God, yearning for it. And I know God is going to bring that back tenfold, but that
was another point in our relationship.
Yeah.
Recently, I have this opportunity and I called you and I told you about it. And you were just like, okay. Mm-hmm. And you called me back.
I called her right back, y'all. I was so convicted. I was so convicted.
Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward it to a point because this is the part that actually I wouldn't say it scared me, but not scared me because I'm using the word scared too loosely. And this is my final point I want to touch on. My thing with Bsimone right now is I think she needs to sit down. When I say sit down, I mean I need her to just strip it all the way back. Okay, I think where Bsimone is right now, and we've all been here, where it's like. And I think there's a great point you made, Crystal. I think that encapsulates the point I want to make. And it's going to prove it in this next clip. Bsimone is a leader. She's called to lead. You can just tell. I'm sorry, she's called to lead, whether you like her or not. And I understand that as well. Okay. I get it. But she sometimes what ends up happening is I feel like she throws herself into the light and wants to lead, but doesn't realize that the way she's doing it is like she needs to be needed, and I think that's the trauma. I think that's the attachment style. So like if she's always leading, then she's always needed, and then what that does is that it forces certain situations that necessarily shouldn't happen. And I'll play the clip so you can understand what I'm kind of saying. I'm going to allude to it and explain it a bit more. I want you to listen to this.
But we talked about that. But yeah, I think. Especially,
and I was like, this is the first time I've done it. He was like, no, it's actually been 2 other times you've done it recently on the 7th of, like, you knew the date.
I was like, I have to speak up now because this is the 3rd time and I'm really triggered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I don't take that. I think in this season of solitude, I don't need that. There might be a season where I do though. So you can start working on it now.
For sure. Answer my phone.
Yeah. Answer my phone. But I have noticed in certain things, I will go back to the selfishness. Like, I feel like certain things I am selfish. Like,
no, I think that comes with being a celebrity too, right? Like you are used to things. I think you're used to things revolving around you.
It comes with me wanting a team that sees my vision and everybody around me is here for the vision.
But we are.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Now, this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. This part here, the what's playing out, I believe it's part of her attachment style, but it's a trauma that's playing through, right? She's a natural leader. She's called to birth this vision, and she's always running, ready to run and go ahead. Okay, what I started hearing was how I said this could easily turn into a cult if you don't be careful, Bsimone. The way that you're talking about how you want people to show up, and it's part of your trauma. And so if you listen to what she says around about how she's building a vision and she wants people to join the vision, but she wants them to join the vision and be dedicated to the vision. And if they're not dedicated to the vision, leave me alone, which is cool. That's normal. Okay. But then there's a part where she starts talking about almost like her fear of abandonment in this, but she doesn't mention the word fear of abandonment. And it's like, you're going to want to hold people in position, and you're going to become like one of those. I don't want to become like one of those pastors that say, you can't leave this church unless I tell you to. No, if God's told me to leave the church, I'm going to leave the church. So I want you to listen to this.
Oh, I know.
Okay, talk about that.
I don't want anybody. I mean, we talked about like the team thing. I'm really big on this team right now. Like, team. Yeah. I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, if you're here for a year, that's fine. But in this,
and every time you say team, I get it.
I know, because it's trauma. But in this,
no, I don't think it's trauma.
What do you think it is?
I think that right now, I don't even know if you're supposed to be focused on that.
No, I feel like I am.
That?
I feel like it's all coming together too. I feel like it's in such a good space.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Maybe mine is trauma.
Yeah. I'm like, pray about it, think about it, and then come back to me. But the team, I'm like, I used to be real big on like, you need to be with me for 10 years and build this and build. Well, I told you that. I was like, why doesn't people stay and just build the legacy and I could just make millionaires? Like, what time?
Pause. Listen to this carefully. I want you to listen carefully because now this is part of the trauma that's going to play around, right? Listen to this very, very carefully because she may not realize what's happening, but she's going to start holding people in position. When she says, obviously, why would you not? You know what I mean? Like, I used to want people to stay for 10 years. That's part of the trauma. you want to lock people in position. You know what I'm saying to you? You're acting like corporate. You know what I mean? That want to lock people in position but never give them the benefits. Like, and that's because you're afraid of the abandonment that it's going to cause you when they leave you. So just want to just pay attention to this part.
Pray about it, think about it, and then come back to me. But the team, I'm like, I used to be real big on like, you need to be with me for 10 years and build this and build. Well, I told you that. I was like, why doesn't people stay and just build the legacy and I could just make millionaires? Like what Tyler Perry's doing.
Literally.
You don't need to go make another Tyler Perry Studios.
Yeah.
Help
I'm
him.
giving it to you. Yes.
Like I am trying to find that, but I also understand.
I'll pause it right there. Listen to what she actually said. Listen to what she said. She said, you don't need to be another Tyler Perry making studios. Who told you? Why the hell we only got one Tyler Perry studio? I'm so sorry. Wait, hold on a minute. We only have one Tyler Perry studio. Why would we not want more Tyler Perry studios? Why should I only be invested in your vision? That's what I'm talking about. That fear of abandonment, where you're extending your worth into my life, is now what we call this enmeshment. You're almost enmeshing yourself into my life. Can you come back a little bit? You know what I mean? And listen, as I'm saying, I want you to really pay attention to what you're actually hearing. And she just needs to work on that because otherwise it will become a cult. And I don't want it to become a cult. This is, you know what I'm saying? We don't want it to become a cult. We want it to be, it's not just your vision, right? And if, those who are meant to be with you will be with you. And those who are not meant to be with you will not be with you. But there are some people that are going to come for a time and for a season, right? I can't lock them in place. Look, on this channel, we've had panels. We had a previous panel before, and then we had another panel now. Right? If the new panel decide that they can't do it no more, we have to find another panel if that's going to be the case, or maybe not. Either way, I can't hold people in position. Like you can't go and make your own panels. If you stay here, you're going to be big. If you leave me, you sound like one of those pastors now. You sound like one of the cult pastors. That's why I said be very careful.
Pray about it, think about it, and then come back to me. But the team, I'm like, I used to be real big on like, you need to be with me for 10 years and build this and build. Well, I told you that. I was like, why doesn't people stay and just build the legacy and I could just make millionaires? Like what Tyler Perry's doing.
Literally.
You don't need to go make another Tyler Perry Studios.
Yeah.
Help him.
I'm giving it to you. Yes.
Like I am trying to find that, but I also understand there's other leaders out there. There's other CEOs. There's other women with vision and their own purpose, right? if you're going to be with me for a year, in that year, the vision is LTTA. The vision can't be whatever the fuck you're trying to do, excuse my language, Lord, off to the side. Like, do it after that year then. I want people around because I'm tired of starting over.
But see, that's why I think the conversation of team is premature.
And to be fair, her friend is right. The conversation about thing is you know, it's premature because you're not deeping that. And I think the reason why is because again, do you know what's happening? Bsimone also too is doing the mind reading thing again, right? The reason why people are probably not, the reason why she's feeling frustrated is because people are leaving before it's time. So they start building, but they leave, right? More than likely because they're no longer receiving benefit from you anymore. The people that you're encouraging to come around you have their own vision. So when they come, they build for a while and then they got to go off because they've got their own vision. Like, this is how churches get messed up, where a pastor will be like, I've got the musician, I've got the choristers, I've got the ushers, I've got this, I've got that. And then people will say, oh, I got to go because the Lord is calling me to somewhere else. I got to start my own church. What do you mean you got to start your own church? If you were with me, you'd be successful. And if you're with me, if you leave here, you ain't going to ever be. And it's like, your fear of abandonment starts to control other people. This is not where you want to be. So the reason why, again, I understand what she's saying in terms of wanting that stability. It's a trauma for her in terms of not having that stability. I get it, right? But the reality is more than likely, right, that you need to find the right kind of people, number one. But number two, also, if you feel like, and she said something interesting, she said, if you're with me, I can build millionaires. Baby, who said that God wanted them to be with you like that? Who said that God, and that's what I'm saying to you, who said God wanted you to be the one to build them? Maybe God just wanted you to be them for a year. They learn lessons and they go off and let God do more work on them. We are not God. It's like me saying, dump all your therapists. You only need me as a coach. And if you only have me as a coach, I promise you, you'll get what you need to get to. You dump all your therapists, dump these other coaches. I don't need to tell that to you. If you come to me, I'm going to tell you now, do you have a therapist? Do you have a coach? That's cool. I'm not going to tell you to leave them alone. Come to me. That's fine. You can use me and them. You know what I'm saying to you? You know?
But why?
Because I don't really think you feel like that.
What do you think I feel like?
I think you want us here longer than a year.
I do. Right. I do. But I'm okay.
No, you're not.
No, I am. I swear I am. If we know the intent. If we know you're going to be here for a year and you can be an asset for that year and we make the strategy, we make the exit plan, you can pass the torch to the next person. I'm okay with that.
You just don't want to be left high and dry.
That's it.
Got it.
I don't want to be left high and dry. So if you know your long-term goal is for you to be a CEO and have your own podcast and be a superstar, I need to know that day one.
For sure.
And you don't need to be working for...
It deter you?
Yes, because I can just produce your podcast. You don't need to be working for me.
And see, that's where it's going to get tricky. So what she's trying to do is negate the feelings that she's going to have, her own discomfort. It's going to turn into control. She says, if you come with me, then it's like, if you tell me from day one, who comes to a job and tells them day one, I'm really only here, I'm not here to build your vision, really. I'm really here to build my own thing. When you went to a job that's 9 to 5, did you tell them the real reason why you're there? Nobody tells anybody the real thing of why they're actually there, your real motivations. You get what I'm saying to you? No one ever really tells those things to people. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So at that point, we're trying to control because we're afraid of abandonment. So I just need her to look at it again. That's why I think her friend has made a good point. Just need to look at it again so it doesn't become a cult of control where people start feeling like they can't leave, they can't do anything, they can't, because everything has to be LTT. It's like, hey, baby, listen, I got a life and I got a life outside of you, baby. Okay? Are you going to tell me to focus on the vision? I have my own vision too. How many of us go to work and are thinking about other ways to make money? You know, imagine your job told you, listen, you can't think about anything else apart from this job. What do you mean? I can't do YouTube. I'm going to do this job. Get the head out of here. Right? So it's going to turn into control. So just need to be very careful. When I heard that, I said, oh, baby, Bsimone, just before you go down that lane, just reshape it, reframe it.
If you want to be a podcaster, we need to focus on that. But if you want to, learn. I want to learn logistics. I want to learn operations. I want to learn how to build it. I want to learn this. I want to learn that. I love serving. I don't mind that. Yeah. Okay, then come help me. If you're an asset, come help. But in this 6 months, in this year, in this 2 years, the vision is LTTA. I need all of you for this vision. I can't do it on my own.
I still think he's refining that.
Okay.
The reason why I
accept that.
The reason why I think he's refining that, and the reason why I think the team portion could be a little bit premature, is because the calling on your life, you're an entrepreneur and you're a visionary. So you're going to be called to help women like that.
Exactly.
You actually get annoyed when people don't have nothing else that they want to do in life.
For sure.
Right.
I pull it out of them. I'm like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. What? Let's do this. Let's start this. You can, I know it.
Right.
So how are you gonna get annoyed about people leaving you high and dry when you're blessed? The blessing that you have is to pull things out of people. What do you think is going to happen if you're somebody that can pull things out of people? Do you think they're going to stay with you? Why would they want to stay? Do you get what I'm saying to you? If your gift is to spot the gift in other people and to pull it out, why do you think that you're going to be able to say, you know what I mean? Like, so you have to be able to accept that because you're gifted, you know, I don't think she sees it yet because of the trauma a little bit. And I'm not mad at her because I think these things happen. I just want to say it to her so that before it gets down that state, because I don't want it to be a scandal in a couple of years' time. Right? It's a very dangerous line. You want people to succeed under your guidance, but then you say, oh, come here, I can make you a millionaire. But then when you say that, you're also saying at the same time, but don't be focused on someone else's. It's like, baby, I hear you, but what it's starting to reveal the subtle control that you're playing in. You know what I'm saying to you? And you have to be very, very careful how you navigate that space. Okay. So because you're afraid of people leaving you high and dry, you are now making stipulations that you don't necessarily need to make. Your gift is you pull things out of people, which means if your gift is to see it and to pull it out, once you've extracted it, it's only a matter of time before they decide to see it, hold it, and want to run with it. And when they want to run with it, eventually that's not going to be the place. So maybe you've not, and that's why her friend has really got a good point. Maybe you're not seeing all the vision very well. Because if your vision is to make millionaires, why the hell am I a millionaire? Why, if you're making millionaires, am I going to stay with you? I want to do my own thing. If you could make millionaires, how long would it be before you want to stay and go? I want to go after a while. If I can make $1 million with you and I know how to make that money, I can keep you now as an associate. I don't need to have you at that and stay underneath you. Yes, boss. Why would I want to do that? No. So maybe your vision needs to be changed. Your vision should be to help entrepreneurs become the millionaires. And then you get more money from the fact that you are serving them in a place of being somebody who's a mentor to help these people, rather than trying to build something that maybe God hasn't necessarily asked you to build, or maybe it's premature, maybe it's too early, or maybe it's not even for the right time and right season, because it's starting to lead into control. And that tells you about the right time, right season as well.
I pull it out of women.
Absolutely.
I know that.
So your greatest frustration with building a team is that, but it's actually what you're called to. So you got to figure out you got to fine tune that a little bit more before you build the team, because you're going to build a team of women that are bosses.
So why can't you just be on the team and be a boss?
You're
not deep in it, Bsimone. If the friend is explaining to you, if you end up building a team of bosses, the boss doesn't want to be underneath you because they're a boss. Do you know what I'm saying to you? If you build a team of bosses, they're not trying to build a team of bosses. This is why businesses don't build bosses, right? Businesses build teams, and they don't want necessary bosses. What they want is a team and then have certain bosses so that they can have control over the employees. So that's why someone can say to you, sometimes you're overqualified for the job. Reason being, because you're going to come here, you're going to be a boss, and we don't want you to be a boss. We need you to be a worker. We need you not to know too much so that you can just work. But if you build bosses want to have their own dominion that they can actually begin to overlook.
Why can't I make you a multi-millionaire and you run this
you
section
can,
of
but
the
are
team?
you set up for that yet?
What do you mean?
If somebody came and said that this is what they want to work for you, or whatever, but they feel like they're a boss and they're called to this in 2 years, are you set up to give that person what they want and need to stay within your company, like a TPS? Are you set up for that right now?
I feel like we're building towards that.
Okay.
I feel like that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Like I don't just want to hinder you and have you be a slave and a worker.
Yeah.
I want you to be fulfilled under me and feel like I am fulfilled. I am doing what I want to do. And yes, Jennifer is called to this section of the company, and she has 40 women under her. They go through Jennifer. They don't even have to come to me. She's fulfilled. She's over 40.
But you're still talking about your company. See, that's the problem. She's still talking about her company. She's like, Jennifer runs this. Maybe I misheard what she said. it sounds like you're saying like you're going to build a team of bosses. Jennifer's going to become a boss in your company, and she runs a part, an arm or a leg of the company, and people are going to run to her. They don't have to even come to me, but it's still your company. You're not deep in it. If you're building bosses, they want to have their own thing. You know what I'm saying to you? It's like me building YouTubers and then going, but you have to stay within the LBB family. No, you might not want to stay within the LBB family. You'll still be family, but you want to have your own umbrella so that you can build other people. But if I then say, no, you have to be, you know what I'm saying to you? We're now starting to hold people to account when they should be free. You know what I mean?
40 women. She's speaking to women. She's working with women. She has this section. She runs this section of the company, and she loves what she does. She's still a boss under a company that she would have never been able to build on her own.
I get what you're saying.
If Jennifer just works with me, she'd be a millionaire. But she over here trying to start.
There you go, Bsimone. That's the God complex. I needed to chill on that. That's where it's just be very careful. It becomes a God complex. If you are just with me, you become that minute. Just be very careful. And really what that is your trauma speaking. Your trauma is you're almost trying to say, like, if you had my guidance, you could be this person. Without me, you wouldn't have been this person. How do you know? This is why God doesn't want you. This is why God will tell you to take your hand off it. Right? Because you're now beginning to slip, you know, your sense of worth into other people, and based upon them being underneath your umbrella. That's how the control starts. Okay? And actually becomes a professional type of codependency. Right, where you're calling people in, and you're now enmeshing yourself in them. You're now making them codependent to you, baby. That's how cults begin. I just want to be clear. I don't think she's a cult leader. I think her friend is making a good point. She's going to end up becoming that person and not realizing, because she's in a, yes, I love that term, you need me.
Well, they want to work for you, whatever, but they feel they're a boss and they're called to this in 2 years. Are you set up to give that person what they want and need to stay within your company, like a TPS? Are you set up for that right now?
I feel like we're building towards that.
Okay.
I feel like that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Like I don't just want to hinder you and have you be a slave and a worker.
Yeah.
I want you to be fulfilled under me and feel like I am fulfilled. I am doing what I want to do. And yes, Jennifer is called to this section of the company, and she has 40 women under her. They go through Jennifer. They don't even have to come to me. She's fulfilled. She's over 40 women. She's speaking to women. She's working with women. She has this section. She runs this section of the company, and she loves what she does. She's still a boss under a company that she would have never been able to build on her own.
I get what
Bsimone, baby, listen. I get what she's saying. I get what she's saying, right? Like any company will have branches of leaders. She's just, what she's saying is like, it's the way she's saying it. You know, it's the way she's saying it, because what she's saying in this essence, right, is like somebody comes to her, you know, she helps them build something. It's an extension of her company already, but she's a boss. She's over people. She's this and that, and it's successful, wonderful. She now becomes a millionaire, fantastic. Wonderful, right? But when you add this extra part, like you would have never achieved this, or you wouldn't have achieved this had you been apart from me, is where I start to hear cult leader. Because cult leaders are the ones that tell you you can't be saved if you leave this church. You would never be a Christian if you're not a part of this church. That's the kind of cult leadership control where it's only you that are the savior and the God in this relationship. Now, I don't think that's Bsimone's intentionally doing this, but I think because her fear of abandonment and her need to feel like she is worthy through the extension of relationship with others and building in others, that she's actually overreaching. So while she may have healed one part of her, there's another area of her that she needs to rein back in before she begins to overreach and it becomes cultish. Okay, all right. Yes, it's slightly giving Ponzi scheme, wanting to be fulfilled underneath her. What if they don't want to be fulfilled underneath you? What if they came to learn those skills and leave?
what you're saying.
If Jennifer just works with me, she could be a millionaire. But she over here trying to start something with 5 people
nothing.
And struggling. And she could still be fulfilled under LTTA. I want to find those women.
Got you. Okay. They're bosses. They have great visions.
They're leaders. In their field.
So she actually has a good point. Look, if there's going to be some people that would have come to her and would have and can make it. But what you don't want to ever do is ever say that. If you're saying that, it tells me where the mind is. You know what I'm saying to you? Whilst you may believe that you have the skill to help people become millionaires, for instance, I don't want to ever feel like if you didn't come to me, you wouldn't be healed. That's nonsense. First and foremost, there are other people in this field who are amazing at what they do. You get what I'm saying to you? Number two, if I can learn this on my own, then God can surely pull someone else and let them learn it on their own as well. So there's no way I should be making myself the sole representative of healing and talking about, well, if you're not, you know, you can get healing, but you can only really get that healing when you come to my coaching. You know, you'd only heal your attachments when you come to me. It's like, bro, you gotta be very careful. No. It's not that at all. There are other people who do this work and other people in the field as well. And so actually, no, look, I would love you to be with me, and I believe I can really help you. And that's probably why people are leaving you, because they hear this rhetoric. Okay? They hear this rhetoric. So she just needs to just shift that. And I think God is working on her in that part. I think he is.
And they can come serve the company. You think Tyler Perry's not hiring leaders?
No, they are. They bosses.
They're millionaires. They're leaders. They're millionaires. They're fulfilled. They're doing what they want to do under this man's vision, though.
Absolutely.
No, but listen, who wants to be? Listen, but there are people who want to learn from Tyler Perry and do not want to become underneath Tyler Perry. There are so many people who want to learn from Tyler Perry, but do not want to become underneath the umbrella of Tyler Perry. They want to do their own thing, right? So it's again, you're right. There are people who want to do it. There are businesses that have people that work for them. It's natural order of things. But you've got to be aware. You got to be aware, all right, that you want to make bosses. And if you make bosses, there are going to be people who want to be their own boss. There are many businesses out there that even people, they're not even trying to make bosses. And the people leave their job because they're like, you know what, this isn't fulfilling anymore. I can make it on my own. And they may struggle for the next few years, but they might make it. So we don't want to make it as if like it's only you that can make it. You know what I mean?
So I just think it's finding the women that see the vision, that can serve the vision, and knowing there's a place for them to flourish and not be hindered in the vision. I don't want to hinder you. I don't want you to be an employee.
I think the time part is you don't
want them to be an employee, but they are an employee because you're a boss over them. Did you not hear what you just said? They're an employee. If the boss is underneath your company, they are an employee. No matter how much they say it. You can be you can say you're a contractor, but as you're contracting, you become an employee for the company. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Yes, that's probably very true. Yes, they're gifted managers and administrators, not leaders. I don't think she knows the difference on how to recognize them. That may be a good case as well. Yeah. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Sounds like she's seeking validation. She wants admiration for the admiration to result in loyalty and servitude, subconsciously like paying for friends. I hear you. Yeah. Yes, that's part of the control and the trauma of the attachment style. Yes. That's also very true, Crystal. Yep, that's very true.
Your due diligence
to set it up,
putting in the work to set it up, and not making it feel like it's all words. So once you do that, I think that you're gonna get the team part. I think that's why I feel the premature part of it. Yeah, because once you do that, you're gonna get the rest.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. The process before the team, systems and operations. You're such a systems person.
Ooh, I love it.
Well, is there anything else you want to get off your chest? I was like, this is beautiful. I'm in such a good space, y'all. I'm just happy. I'm happy. God brought me through a lot, and I'm just in a good space.
Well, listen, look, my time is up. Look, I think I understand it now. It's a much deeper situation, and something that she has to work through. I don't think she's a bad person. I just think that there's some trauma that's making her overreach, and it is keeping her away from actually really being able to tap into some growth areas. So listen, we're going to leave it here. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notifications of the uploads. We appreciate you. We're going to be back a little bit later on for Love Island. So I know episode 15 dropped. So appreciate you guys. So we'll see you again soon. Much love.